Matchday 4 of the Copa Libertadores is over, and this is how the tables of all the groups look like. We have our first few teams qualified to the round of 16, and also a few bums who are already eliminated, but most groups are still extremely close and anything can happen. Which is why here in Ranked Talks Bowl we're gonna predict all the games in Matchday 5 of the Copa Libertadores 2024. Colo-Colo once again showed their awful finishing, because despite having most of the possession and 24 shots against Fluminense, they only managed to get 2 on target. But the worst part is that they couldn't even get the draw, as in a corner that was the only big chance that Fluminense created the entire game, they conceded. Now the Chileans have a crucial game in Lima against Alianza, who, like I predicted, went all out in their game against Cerro Porteño at home. But thanks to their incompetence, they were already losing by the 26th minute thanks to a goal by Iturbe. Alianza kept trying through the second half, but similar to Colo-Colo, they couldn't get their shots on target, until 40-year-old Barcos connected with a header and scored in the 80th minute to save a point for Alianza Lima. Now these guys face off again for a massive game. I could honestly see this one going either way, but I think the pressure is so high and this group has been so low scoring that this one is gonna be a draw. Fluminense really don't look like the team they were last year, but still, somehow, some way they won their game against Colo-Colo, thanks to the Chilean team not being able to aim their shots at the goal, and to Messias, who deflected a shot from Marcelo in the 74th minute to give the win to the reigning champions. And now they'll try to secure qualification to the next round against Cerro Porteño, who thanks to a goal from a set piece were winning against Alianza Lima at halftime. In the second half the Paraguayan team parked the bus, but it wasn't enough and Barcos equalized for Alianza Lima. And Cerro are gonna regret not getting a result, because even though Fluminense hasn't looked convincing, I trust that at El Maracaná they will get the win. Talleres secured their spot in the round of 16 in a very back and forth game against Barcelona. The Argentinian team was more effective with their chances, and after goals from Catalan and Bota they were winning 2-0 at halftime. Barcelona was quick to respond with a goal of their own in the second half, but they didn't really attack after that, and so Talleres closed out the game in style, when Gustavo Gou scored a golazo from a free kick in stoppage time to secure the 3-1 win and qualification for Talleres. And now they get to stat pad against Cobresal, who started off strong against Sao Paulo when Diego Coelho scored the opener in the 23rd minute. But after that Sao Paulo got serious. They battered poor goalkeeper Requena, who couldn't prevent Neves, Nestor and Caleri from scoring. And the 3-1 defeat confirms Cobresal's elimination from the tournament. Which is why I think with no pressure, Talleres is gonna be able to win in front of their home crowd for style points. Barcelona did better than I expected against Talleres, but they didn't take their chances and defensively they were very shaky. The Argentinians punished them with 2 goals in the first half. However, Barcelona got one back through Joao Rojas in the second half, but after that they didn't manage to create any more chances. And instead they conceded another goal, and their 3-1 defeat confirms that Barcelona is out of contention for the round of 16 and will have to look for a spot in the Sudamericana. But their next game is away to Sao Paulo, who conceded in the 23rd minute against Cobresal, but didn't look back after that. They unleashed their attacking prowess. Luciano Neves scored first, then Nestor with a spectacular goal from outside the box, and finally Caleri with a header. 3-1 and Sao Paulo are through to the round of 16. And considering they can still top the group, I doubt they'll go easy on Barcelona, so I'm gonna give the win to Sao Paulo. In Group C we were supposed to see the game between Huachipato and Gremio, but of course the situation in Porto Alegre has been very difficult, with massive floods affecting the region. Both the Arena do Gremio and the airport have been rendered useless because of this disaster, And of course, this game and the one that Gremio was supposed to play against Estudiantes were both postponed. Now if I gotta give a prediction for the game against Estudiantes, whenever and wherever it's played, I think it could be a draw. I send a lot of love and my best wishes to the people of Porto Alegre and nearby regions affected by the disaster. Hope all of you guys are safe and that the situation gets better soon. The other match of this group was the strongest against Estudiantes, where the Bolivian team took the lead thanks to a header by Orsino in the 13th minute. The strongest then bunkered down and Estudiantes had many chances. They honestly deserved to equalize with how horrible the strongest were playing, but again Estudiantes was very wasteful. And so the altitude merchants defend their ground and get a massive 3 points. And next week the new victim of the altitude is gonna be Huachipato, who we obviously didn't see play this week, but away in La Paz I think they will lose, and the strongest is gonna be one step closer to the run of 16. Universitario conceded early at home against Junior. The Peruvians then pushed hard for the equalizer and they got it after a great play from Andy Polo found Edinson Flores in the 24th minute to make it 1-1. However, the second half was extremely dull and the draw keeps everything up in the air. Especially now that Botafogo got their second win in a row, flipping the script upside down. The first half against Liga de Quito was very back and forth. Liga hit the post but Botafogo missed 2 clear chances. Liga de Quito scored but after a long VAR review the goal was overturned. And Botafogo took advantage of this momentum and Hugo managed to open the score in the 34th minute for the Brazilians. But Liga equalized before halftime. However, in the 69th minute, Santos gave Botafogo the lead again. And with some suffering at the end, El Fogao was able to close out the game. This group is extremely tight, anything can happen, but I feel like Universitario has wasted a massive opportunity and the momentum is in the favor of Botafogo. So I'm gonna give the win to El Fogao. Liga de Quito were once again punished for their bad finishing against Botafogo. Arce could have scored the opener but his header hit the post, and when Liga did manage to score, the goal was overruled after a VAR check that took over 10 minutes. Hugo then gave the lead to Botafogo, but Liga was quick to respond when Strada scored at the end of the first half. But the defense was caught lacking again when at the 69th minute Santos scored to make it 2-1 to Botafogo. Liga pushed very hard for the equalizer, but Arce missed many more chances and the Ecuadorians came back from Brazil empty-handed. This is the Copa Sudamericana champions bottom of the group, but only 2 points behind the group leaders, Junior, who had very little to show for in their visit to Lima. They scored early thanks to an absolute banger by Castrillon, but after that they created nothing, and they were very lucky that Universitario was also bad on the day. And in the end, the 1-1 draw benefits the Colombian team. However, now they have to travel to Quito, and if I know anything about Colombian teams under pressure, I think that this is Liga's time to strike, so I'm gonna give the win to the Ecuadorians. I said I wasn't sure about Flamengo, and once again they showed lack of character playing away from home. I know they had a few chances against Palestino, they hit the post and goalkeeper Rigamonti had to make a few saves, but their play is still inconsistent, they simply allow the other team to get so many chances. And in the 63rd minute Cornejo scored an out of this world wonder for Palestino, and Flamengo lost against all odds. Now they will play at home against group leaders Bolívar, who finally dropped points in this group against Millonarios. They were very dull in the first half, and the Colombians punished them with a goal from a corner. In the second half, Bolívar woke up and Ramiro Vaca scored the equalizer with a free kick. The teams then traded blows, and Bolívar could have lost, but their goalkeeper Lampe kept them in the game. And they almost even win it at the end when they created 2 great chances. But in the end, it was a draw, and now they have to travel away to the Maracaná and Flamengo has to win. So I'm gonna put my trust that they'll wake up now that the pressure is on, and I'll give the win to El Mengao. Millonarios once again disappointed. They were pushing Bolívar with more determination than good football. They scored the first goal thanks to a crossing, a header that hit the post, and a rebound taken by Andrés Ginas. But in the second half they suffered many injuries and the substitutions were terrible, which allowed Bolívar back into the game. And Vaca ended up equalizing for Bolívar with a free kick. Millonarios then tried and tried again. They had many chances but they were always stopped by Lampe. They could have won this game, but in the end they could have also lost as their own goalkeeper Montero had to make 2 crucial saves, and this draw leaves Millonarios in a very tough spot, bottom of the group with only 2 points and a must-win game at home against Palestino, who took advantage of a lazy Flamengo team, and with an absolute golazo by Cornejo, they won against the Brazilians in one of the shocks of this Copa Libertadores. And I think that the pressure is gonna be too much for Millonarios in this one. Palestino is a brave team with a lot of confidence, so I think they will frustrate Millonarios here and get a draw. San Lorenzo somehow revived against Independiente del Valle. Their players suddenly remembered how to play football, and at 25 minutes they were 2-0 up thanks to goals from Cuello and Barreiro. After that, San Lorenzo were defensively solid. Independiente del Valle had the ball, but they were not finding spaces through the Argentinian backline. And the only moment where it looked like things might go badly for San Lorenzo was near the end when Romaña was sent off. But IDV couldn't even get a consolation goal, and now San Lorenzo have put themselves in a great position as their next game is at home against Liverpool, who competed a bit against Palmeiras at the start even after conceding, but when Rafael Veiga scored the second in the 71st minute, Liverpool completely collapsed and they conceded another 3 in the final 15 minutes to round up a humiliating 5-0 defeat. And now traveling away to Argentina, I feel like they'll put up a good fight, but San Lorenzo has newfound strength, and I think that they are gonna win this game. Palmeiras played a relaxed game against Liverpool, which is why it took them until the end of the first half to score the opener with a powerful shot from Rafael Veiga. In the 71st minute, Endrick assisted Veiga for him to get his brace. And 10 minutes later, Endrick scored a goal of his own and got a yellow card for celebrating like a gorilla, which is like, why? Well, why did the ref even do that? Palmeiras then got another 2 goals in stoppage time, first from Ronnie in a counter-attack and then a penalty scored by Gustavo Gomez. 5-0, and Palmeiras only need a point against Independiente del Valle to qualify. Independiente, who had a ghost-like performance in Argentina, they created very little threat and conceded 2 early goals against San Lorenzo. And this is the problem I always have with IDV. They are so talented and play such beautiful football, but I need them to be more consistent, or else the Copa Libertadores is always gonna be too big for them. And I feel like this one could be a great game like the last one we had between these 2 teams. Independiente has the capacity to compete, but this Palmeiras team is playing on a different level now, so I'm gonna give the win to El Verdao. Rosario Central played an empty game at an empty stadium after the sanctions they received for attacking a Peñarol player all the way on Matchday 1. They only had one plan: keep a clean sheet and counter-attack. And it looked to be working, because their goalkeeper Fatura Brown looked like prime Buffon and was keeping them alive in the game against Mineiro. But in the 87th minute, Paulinho got the winner and Rosario Central's plan blew up in their face. It's not only that they lost, it's how bad they looked doing it with not a single shot on target at home. Luckily, now they'll receive Caracas, who once again were naive defensively against Peñarol. They allowed Guzman Rodriguez to score early in the first half, and while they tried a bit more in the second half, their bad finishing means that Caracas suffers yet another loss in this Libertadores. And they'll suffer another one because I predict Rosario Central to take advantage of them and get the win in this game. Peñarol did the bare minimum against Caracas. Guzman Rodriguez scored early into the first half, and after that they simply dominated possession and sealed out the game to get all 3 points on the road. Same as Atlético Mineiro, who punished the uninspired and pragmatic approach of Rosario Central. It was insane that they weren't winning. The Post and Fatura Brown were keeping them at bay, but in the end Vargas and Paulinho linked up and the latter scored the winner that sealed Mineiro's spot in the next round. And now this game looks like it could be one for the ages. Mineiro is qualified, yes, but they won't make it easy for this Peñarol side, who has very good chances of qualifying themselves, so I'm gonna predict this one to be a draw. Deportivo Táchira actually played a decent game for once. They generated many chances and they scored one of them when Nelson Hernandez put in a cross for Jesus Hernandez to score, taking advantage that their rivals Libertad looked completely uninspired. However, in the second half they took their foot off the gas and allowed Libertad back into the game. They conceded in the 50th minute and they would have lost if it wasn't for goalkeeper Camargo saving a penalty, which means that Táchira finally gets a draw and we have no teams remaining in the Copa Libertadores with 0 points. Now they look to replicate their performance against Nacional, who played a very naive first half against River Plate at home. They were horrible both offensively and defensively, and at halftime they were losing 2-0. However, thanks to the substitutions and the referee, Nacional Nacional got new life, and Carneiro scored a penalty in the 78th minute, and a minute later he got himself a brace to equalize the game 2-2. And yes, Táchira has improved, but I don't think they've improved enough. So I'm gonna give the win to Nacional. Libertad are on fraud watch. I'm gonna predict them to beat Táchira, but if they don't, a special rant will be dedicated to the Paraguayans, super champions. I didn't believe that I'd actually have to do this, but here we go. Libertad, you absolute bums! I believed in you! You were supposed to be the next Olympia! You were supposed to carry the hopes of Paraguay! You dominated your league last year, and now in the Libertadores you can't even beat Deportivo Táchira? They had lost all their games before this, and you were losing the game as well after a goal from Jesus Hernandez. But luckily for you, Libertad, in the 50th minute 42-year-old Roque Santa Cruz scored the equalizer for you. And then you had a penalty to win it in the end, and you bricked it! And if you ask me, you were even lucky not to lose this game because Deportivo Táchira missed 2 huge chances. And now you have to travel to Argentina to face River Plate, who dominated their game against Nacional, with Borja scoring early and Colidio getting a second. Everything was going fine for River, and then the referee decided to make things interesting. He didn't show a red card to either Lozano or Romero in the Uruguayan side. Then Nacional got a penalty scored by Carneiro, and a minute later Carneiro scored a second for an epic comeback. And yes, River were robbed, but they still bottled a game that was won. But they won't let this slip again. Not against this Libertad side that I'm never trusting again. The win here will go to River Plate. And this is how my predictions are going. With the game between Huachipato and Gremio still pending, I got 8 results right and 7 wrong, leaving a total score of 33 correct guesses and 30 incorrect. I have to continue getting these right because it's still very close. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to like, comment your predictions below and subscribe to not miss out on more Copa Libertadores content. I'll see you all next time.